Chapter 336, All-Star 24-2. Compared to the All-Stars that introduced before them, of the 200 Blossom players, one of them was lacking in terms of his character and his experience, while the other was lacking in skill. Though for Tang to be able to say, the junior succeeds the senior, it meant that he was also a very arrogant guy. He didn't care too much about all of this and stood there proudly. As for Zhou Yuan, he was more uneasy. He stood behind his character and it appeared as if he was too afraid to look at the audience. Next up was Team Excellent Era's two players, Sun Xiang and Su Mucheng. Their characters, the Battle Mage, One Autumn Leaf, and the Launcher, Dancing Rain, were quickly projected onto the stage. These two were originally the closest partners in the alliance, but it was different now. Dancing Rain's owner didn't hide her thoughts. She stayed a good distance away from Sun Xiang, instead, standing closer to 100 Blossoms player, Zhou Yuan. The broadcast team knew what they had to do and immediately featured this point. They shifted to the empty seat where Yi Shu was supposed to be at and once again paused on it. After them came Team 301's captain, Yang Kong, with his assassin, Scene Killer. Even though he was also the ace of a team, Yang Kong's character couldn't be considered top tier and so, when it stood up on stage, it gave off a very modest appearance. Following Yang Kong's introduction was a short break. The audience counted 12 players on stage and immediately understood that these 12 players comprised one of the all-star teams. Tonight, they temporarily became teammates. Team Samsara's Zhou Zikai turned into the all-star team's temporary captain. However, this appointment was simply a title. Zhou Zikai carried the team captain name, but in reality, the one who took on the role of team captain was Team Blue Rain's Yu Wenzhou. No one had any objections to this. This friendly and polite team captain had exceptionally good relations with everyone in the pro circle. The host conducted brief interviews with each of the 12 players and had them sit in specially prepared seats. The 12 players sat down on one end of the stage and then, the other 12 players began to come onto the stage. First up was Team Tiny Herb and, like Blue Rain, they too had 3 all-stars. Team Captain Wang Jiaxi. Character, Valkyria. Class, Witch. Vice Captain Deng Fusheng. Character, Angelica. Class, Knight. And a grappler, Li Yiwei. Character, Flying Drops. He was also one of Team Tiny Herb's main pillars. Next up was 2 players from Team Tyranny, the team captain and vice-captain, Han Wenqing and Zhang Jinji. Han Wenqing's character was naturally extremely famous, the king of fighting, Desert Smoke. Class, Striker. Zhang Jinji's character, on the other hand, was a cleric. Character, Immovable Rock. After them was Team Void's Li Zan. Character, Sobbing Ghost. Class, Ghostblade. Alongside him was Wu Yu's from the same team. Character, Carved Ghost. Class, Ghostblade. He and Li Zan's duo Ghostblade combo was another classic combo in the pro scene and had been competitors against Yi Shu and Su Mucheng's title of best partners ever since their creation. Following Team Void was Team Wind Howl's Lin Jingyan. Even though his condition had fallen and now that he had been beaten by Tang Hao, the All-Star invitation was based on popularity, not skill. A god like Lin Jingyan could easily make it into the 24 All-Stars with just his past achievements. In addition, he also had 3 hits, the reputed number 1 brawler character. Lin Jingyan hadn't come alone from Team Wind Howl. There was also Fang Rui. Character, Doubtful Demon. Class, Thief. His signature style was playing dirty, and dirty. Next up was Team Thunderclap's captain, Xiao Shikan, one of Glory's 4 master tacticians. He was someone who could take a bad hand and give any team trouble. His character, Life Extinguisher. The name sounded extremely murderous, but his class was actually a mechanic, which was not a character that could fight against another face-to-face. After Xiao Shikan was Team Royal Styles Tian Sen, who had the back of a tiger and the waist of a bear. The energy from his build was enough to make one tremble. Pro players were practically all shut-ins. Very few of them exercised to such extents. As a result, a pro with a muscular physique was very rarely seen. Tian Sen's character was called Peaceful Hermit. Class, Exorcist. It was also a very old god-level character. Tian Sen was already the 3rd owner of this character. With every following successor for this character, Team Royal style turned worse and worse. Even with a top-tier character, they still weren't even able to make it to the playoffs. Following Tien Sen was Zhao Yang, Team Seaside's ace player. Character, Boundless Sea. Class, Chi Master. Their team's situation was the same as Yang Kong. The player himself and his character weren't considered as extremely top-tier, but that was only when it was compared to the top of the top. After all, anyone on the 24 All-Stars list was still an excellent player. The final 12 players had joined the stage. This team had Wang Jiaxi as the temporary captain. He represented the team and said a few words. Afterwards, the host did a brief interview with each of them and the 12 sat down on opposite sides of the stage, facing the other 12 players. Who would participate in the individual competition? Who would participate in the group competition? And who would participate in the team competition that hadn't been announced yet? The audience was already quite excited. Even though the All-Star event was just for show, if they were too relaxed, the viewers would lose interest. As a result, the Alliance would also set things up to fire up the All-Stars. For example, in this event, they had Blue Rain and Tiny Herb, Excellent Era and Tyranny, the two big rivalries, split into two different teams. By doing this, the players wouldn't play so half-heartedly. Even if the players didn't care, the fans still would. Some opponents, no matter the time, no matter the location, would never go easy. With these types of players bringing in the energy, what was there to be worried about? The 24 players were, after all, the 24 most popular players in Glory, so they didn't need a big introduction. The event quickly entered the competitive stage. The first round for the individual competition was about to begin. Who would be chosen among the two sides? The viewers watching at the stadium and those who were watching the TV were all impatiently waiting for the answer. The host purposefully slowed down his words when announcing the first contestant in order to heighten the suspense. In the end, the first team chose Team 301's Yang Kong, while the second team chose Team Royal Style's Tien Sen. Of the 24 players, there weren't any that even the top-tier gods would be able to steamroll over. Their performance on stage was way more important in this level of competition. Though for these two players, the end-deciding factor was actually the differences in their characters. Peaceful Hermit was more than powerful enough to be considered a god-level character. Comparatively, Yang Kong's scene kill was a bit inferior. Tien Sen took advantage of his character's superiority and struck steadily and surely without giving any major openings, until he won the match. After finishing the match, the two received interviews on the spot. Naturally, the winner said that the loser had played well and that he had won through luck. As for the loser, they said that the winner had played better and deserved the victory. After all, this was only the All-Star event. The two didn't have any enmity towards each other and weren't affected by any riling up. The two happily shook each other's hand and the first match ended. For the second match, Team 100 Blossoms Zhou Yuan was sent out. For the second team, they sent out Team Tiny Herb's grappler, Li Yiwei. Zhou Yuan's dazzling 100 Blossom was undoubtedly a god-level account. It was just that there was nothing praiseworthy about his performance in the season. This hastily found substitute had to take the place of God Zhang Jiali and he also had to use the team's core account. The amount of pressure on Zhou Yuan was unimaginable. Though for this all-star event, where there didn't need to be any pressure, the relaxed Zhou Yuan unexpectedly gave off his most outstanding performance of the season. He defeated the champion team's Li Yiwei, obtaining a heated round of applause. After another modest interview, the third match began. For the individual competition, each match was one round. There was no best-of-3 format. As a result, there wasn't a need for too much thinking for who to send out. For the first team, they sent out Team Blue Rain's Berserker Yu Feng. As for the second team, they sent out Team Wind Howl's Dirty Fang Rui. In the individual competition, the two rivals, Blue Rain and Tiny Herb, had both sent out players. Unfortunately, they had missed each other. If these two teams' players fought, the audience members were certain that the match would be more intense. From this, it could be seen that the hosts split the teams accordingly, but when it came to the actual competition, which players were sent out entirely depended on the players. If not, then how could the alliance miss out on such an opportunity? Yu Feng's Berserker was a class that went for direct attacks. Fang Rui's character, on the other hand, was a dirty thief. This match turned into a game of hide and seek, but no one dared to look down on the amount of skill involved in the match. The two were carefully examining the other side's movements and slowly wearing down their opponent. Of the 3 individual matches, this one took the longest. After a good 5 minutes, Fang Rui's Dirty Thief made a mistake, which was seized by Yu Feng, who directly ended the match. The applause was deafening. A dirty way of fighting was one type of extreme. Some people loved it, while others hated it. The audience members who were clapping like crazy were naturally those who hated that sort of dirty fighting. Seeing the dirty Fang Rui get cut down brought them incomparable delight. Chapter 337, All-Star Competition. Even though the audience cheered when the dirty Fang Rui fell, he didn't care at all. Although many did not like his way of fighting, he had many supporters as well. If not, then he wouldn't have been able to enter the ranks of the All-Stars. He politely waved his hands towards the audience along with the victorious Yu Feng and then left the stage. The individual stage was over. Team 1 had earned 2 points, while Team 2's had earned 1 point. Team 2 was current losing. Although it was only for show, the spectators still cared about who won or lost. They paid attention to which side their favorite pros were on. For example, Chen Guo naturally supported the team that Su Mucheng was on. After a few minutes, the second competition, the group competition, began. The viewers quietly discussed the possible arrangements for the groups as the players for the first match went out. For Team 1, the first player to come out was Excellent Era's ace, Sun Shang. As soon as one autumn leaf was projected onto the stage, the crowd erupted into cheers. For Team 2's, their first player was Wind Howl's Lin Jingyan. Sun Zhang's mechanics were not below Tang Hao's and one autumn leaf was absolutely the better character. On paper, Sun Shang had the higher chance of winning. However, the paper didn't account for the two's current conditions. In the Rookie Challenge competition, one had been beaten with a junior succeeds the senior, while one had been beaten with a still too green. Both defeats had been somewhat embarrassing. Especially for Sun Shang, since he had dug the hole himself. It had only been 2 days since then. If their mental states hadn't adjusted, then their performance on stage could very likely be affected. When the two sides fought, Lin Jingyan performed efficient and ruthless as always, while Sun Shang clearly was having a bit of situation. Young people could rarely compete with the veterans in having this type of inner quality. Even though Sun Shang was stronger on paper, the deciding factor in a match was still their performance on stage. Nothing praiseworthy could be said about Sun Zhang's current performance. In the end, Lin Jingyan's 3 hits still had a quarter of his health left, when one autumn leaf fell. Sun Shang silently exited his booth amidst the crowd's boos. Chen Guo was even less polite and began ridiculing him. If this had been yesterday, she wouldn't have gone so far, but after hearing of Yishu's past, Chen Guo didn't have any good feelings towards Team Excellent Era. This clearly showed that Chen Guo cared more about the players than the team, so when she discovered a bad relationship between a player and his team, with the team being unjust, her opinions of the team naturally turned sour. How could she care about Sun Shang, Yishu's replacement? As soon as she saw that he wasn't helping the team win any advantages, she immediately looked down on him. After Sun Shang answered a few interview questions, he hastily exited the stage. The second player in Team 1's group was Team Misty Rain's Li Hua using the ninja, Dark Forest. Li Hua was known for his quick mechanics and constantly changing movements. This type of player was the bane of a veteran with a deteriorating condition like Lin Jingyan. In addition, Dark Forest had a full health bar, while 3 hits only had a quarter health left. This time, Lin Jingyan was defeated. Team 2's followed up with Team Seaside's Zhao Yang using his Chi Master, Boundless Sea. Chi Masters were an all-around class. They had both offensive and defensive skills. They could support and burst. They were very easy to pick up. However, once things reached the pro level, there wasn't any advantage in being easy to pick up. No matter how difficult the class, at that level, all of them were being played at extremely high levels. The battle between these two was another intense fight. Each side displayed their character and playstyle's strengths. Neither side made any obvious mistakes either. In the end, Zhao Yang was able to defeat Li Hua with the small advantage Lin Jingyan had brought. The final player to come out for Team 1 was Team 100 Blossoms' Tang Hao. He had succeeded earlier with his junior succeeds the senior and was at peak condition. Against Zhao Yang's Boundless Sea, he easily defeated him. Team 2's final player was unexpectedly Team Thunderclap's Xiao Shikan. The audience was very surprised by this arrangement. This was because they all knew that Xiao Shikan was good at team play. In the all-star competition, players weren't allowed to participate in more than one competition, so the audience had expected Xiao Shikan to participate in the team competition. In this team of all-stars, all of them should be a better choice than Xiao Shikan, no? In any case, the match began and just as expected, Xiao Shikan's solo ability couldn't be compared to Tang Hao. Even if his character Life Extinguisher was slightly better than Tang Hao's Delillo, he was still beaten. In the end, Xiao Shikan was defeated and Tang Hao had made a turnaround for Team 1. Team 1 won the group competition and earned 2 points. They were now winning 3-2. Undoubtedly, the final team competition would determine who won and who lost. Before that, there was a quick rest break and highlight replay. The audience recalled the all-stars that played in the group competition. They discovered that on paper, Team 1 had the advantage. Sun Shang and Tang Hao, the two second-year rookies, already had god-level skill, while the players that came out for Team 2's truly weren't as good. Of course, Sun Shang didn't play well and lost the first match, making many of them look down on him. In the end, Tang Hao defeated 2 opponents and played outstandingly in this all-star competition. The players he had defeated were, after all, all-star level players. After a short break, the final performance in the All-Star Weekend was about to begin. This sort of brawl between all-stars could really only be seen in the all-star competition. That sort of one-on-one play could be seen normally when 2 teams fought against each other. As for which players were chosen for the 2 teams, all the audience had to do was eliminate the ones that had already gone up. The only part they didn't know was who would be the substitute player. 12 players came up on stage one after the other. After receiving interviews asking random nonsense like if they had the confidence to win or not, the 12 players entered their respective booths. The map was projected onto the stage and the arrangement for the 2 teams was immediately clear. For Team 1, the main roster consisted of Samsara's Zhou Zikai, Blue Rain's Yu Wenzhou and Huang Xiaoshan, Misty Rain's Chu Yongshu, and Excellent Era's Su Mucheng. Their reserve player was Samsara's Zhang Batao. For Team 2's, the main roster consisted of Tiny Herb's Wang Jiaxi and Deng Fusheng, Tyranny's Zhang Jinji, Void's Li Zan and Wu Yus. Their reserve player was unexpectedly Han Wenqing. Han Wenqing being the substitute was a big surprise to the viewers. However, after looking more closely at Team 2's arrangement, they understood why they had Xiao Shikan participate in the group competition. Team 2's had 2 master tacticians, so with Zhang Jinji there, they could let Xiao Shikan participate in the group competition. The 6 remaining players on Team 2's was their most balanced formation. Wang Jinji and Deng Fusheng, 1 active, 1 quiet. Han Wenqing and Zhang Jinji, 1 offensive, 1 supportive. Li Zan and Wu Yus, the Ghostblade duo. Without a doubt, Team 2's play style would be full of variations. As for Team 1, they were clearly an offensive-oriented formation. Apart from Yu Wenzhou's Warlock, Swaksar, their team didn't have any other supports. Huang Xiaoshan's Blade Master Troubling Rain, Zhou Zekai's Sharpshooter Cloud Piercer, Chu Yongshu's Elementalist Windy Rain, Su Mucheng's Launcher Dancing Rain. They were all offensive classes. Only their reserve player, Zhang Batao's Spellblade Empty Waves had decent crowd control with his Wave Sword and Wave Boundary. However, looking at them from an offensive perspective, Team 1 had both extremely long-ranged and close-ranged members. Just from their range, they had an all-around offense. Their team formation hadn't been randomly chosen. As for their team lacking the very important support and crowd control classes, there wasn't much they could do about it in the all-star competition. After all, the more popular players were certainly the ones who were more offensive-oriented players. It was just like how in football, the forwards were definitely more eye-catching than the rear guard. And since the all-stars were chosen by popular vote, they wouldn't have such a good team composition like a normal team. Their end result had clear faults, but there wasn't much they could do about it. In comparison, Team 2's had included both supports and crowd control characters inside, so their formation was more perfect. The host and broadcast clearly recognized that this was the true climax for the All-Star event and began to build up the suspense. The commentators analyzed both sides' team formation. When the excitement hits its peak, that was when the All-Star event's team competition officially began. An impressive 10 of Glory's top-tier characters from their respective classes were participating in this battle. Team 1's shot caller was Yu Wenzhou. As for Team 2's, even though Wang Jiaxi's shot calling was good, he gave the position to Zhang Jinji. These two master tacticians would lead the confrontation between the two sides. Team 1 arranged their troops and then directly rushed forward. Team 2 seemed to have understood their intent. Their 5 players scattered and found their own spots on the map, waiting for the other team's players to come up. This sort of tactical intent obviously couldn't be revealed to the opponent. However, there was a flaw in this all-star event due to the projection. The hosts had specially installed windows in the player booths to let the players have a taste of the projection technology. However, at this moment, the projection technology allowed Team 1 to see Team 2's tactical intent. This was something that the hosts had miscalculated. They had only been paying attention to the experience the projection provided and had compromised the competitiveness on accident. Chapter 338, Know Yourself, Know Your Enemy. Team 1 quickly adjusted their advances. Those who had some sense of strategy immediately understood their intent. They discovered that the adjustments had been made to counter Team 2's formation. The spectators didn't know that there was such a large flaw in the booths. At the moment, they were all gasping in surprise. They thought that it was Team 1's master tactician, Yu Wenzhou, who was predicting Team 2's formation like an all-knowing god. As for Team 2's supporters, when they saw this, they looked like captured lambs and immediately felt worried. They wished that they could rush up on stage and warn Team 2. As Team 1's players closed in, quite a few members of the crowd anxiously stood up, when they suddenly saw Team 2's formation change. The scattered players contracted together and were ready for the Team 1's incoming assault. However, Team 1 reacted quickly as well. Their initial strategy was tossed away and they contracted as well, in preparation for a direct confrontation with Team 2. The audience members who understood what was going on were clapping wildly. They felt that the two shot callers deserved to be called master tacticians. They were like true gods, predicting what the other side was going to do next. How could they know that the shot callers on both sides, Yu Wenzhou and Zhang Jinji, were both laughing bitterly? They were both smart, but their opponents weren't stupid, either. In reality, the two sides could see the other side's movements just from looking at the projection. They weren't making any godly predictions. They were just looking at the map. Because both teams consisted of top-tier players with a solid knowledge of tactics and strategies, even though they weren't from the same team, their coordination wouldn't be too poor. Their movements after hearing the commands were clean and crisp. It looked as if their adjustments to their formations had been practiced beforehand. The unknowing spectators only felt how amazing and spectacular they were. Yu Wenzhou and Zhang Jinji could see how sharp both sides were. Planning a sneak attack or flanking each other weren't going to work. In this match, a direct confrontation was clearly their only option. Zhang Jinji felt like their side had the advantage in a direct confrontation. After all, their team had the balanced team composition. As for Team 1's offense-oriented team, they were better at bullying, but both teams consisted of all-stars. Their skill levels were equal, so there was no way that they would be pushed down so easily. Thus, Zhang Jinji stopped playing tricks. He gave an order and Team 2 advanced forward in an X formation. The audience saw that it seemed like the fight would start soon. But who would have thought that the initially aggressive Team 1 would suddenly have their hands and feet bound and, instead of meeting the fight, they actually began to retreat. Their movements made the audience very confused. But what made the audience even more confused was that, when Team 1 began to retreat, Team 2 suddenly halted. The audience members looked at one another. What were these two tacticians thinking? They couldn't understand at all. The audience was completely confused. Zhang Jinji, on the other hand, had sweat pouring down from his head. Why did Team 2 suddenly stop? The reason they had stopped was because, as soon as Team 1 began to retreat, they were unable to see the positions of Team 1's players anymore from their booth windows. Team 1's 5 players utilized their dead angle in order to hide from them. Zhang Jinji would naturally be alarmed. He immediately understood that Yu Wenzhou's strategic sight was better than his. He had thought about how normal matches and this match differed and that both sides had the ability to see the general overview of the battle through the projection. This was something that official matches definitely wouldn't have, which was why Yu Wenzhou had specially took note of the position of Zhang Jinji's booth, in order to determine where his blind spot was. And now, he had used this point, giving his team, Team 1, the chance to hide. Team 2 was now fighting against an invisible enemy. The momentum immediately shifted. As for Zhang Jinji, he hadn't taken note of the position of Yu Wenzhou's booth. It wouldn't be good to randomly guess, either, so his only option was to have his team halt temporarily. Zhang Jinji didn't hide anything and told his team of his current predicament. "I can see from here," Wang Jiexi replied. The positions of their booths were different, so they had different viewing angles. Zhang Jinji's dead angle could be seen from Wang Jiexi's point of view. "Then I'll hand the shot calling over to you," Zhang Jinji gave him the authority. He may be called a master tactician, but that didn't mean that their victory would be guaranteed with his shot calling. Handing the shot calling over to Wang Jiexi, in order to solve their current predicament, didn't mean that they were necessarily going to lose. After Wang Jiexi observed Team 1's formation, he read and understood the opponent's intent and Team 2 naturally made their adjustments. The adjustment was simple. Their goal was to not suffer losses. They weren't thinking of using the knowledge of their opponent's positions to their advantage. This was because this match truly was too transparent. The flaw in the booths made it so that both sides knew themselves and knew their enemies. Even when Yu Wenzhou used his knowledge of Zhang Jinji's point of view to his advantage, by switching the command over to Wang Jiexi, everything had gone back to the beginning. Neither side could deceive the other. Even if they took Wang Jiexi into account, there was still Li Zan and Deng Fusheng. It wasn't like Yu Wenzhou could account for everyone's point of view, right? If he really did, then their movements would be very limited and they wouldn't be able to make any sneak attacks. These exchanges truly showed the two sides' abilities. It was just that, to the audience members, they couldn't really understand what was going on. Only Yi Shu, who was an expert and who had gone up on stage before, could tell from their movements what their situation was. He couldn't help but laugh when he saw it. "Ah, this isn't very fun. You can see us. We can see you. Hide and seek. They might as well just send one player up at a time and play the group competition out." Up until now, the two sides still hadn't fought each other, yet. But Team 1's chat window suddenly exploded with Huang Xiaoshen's chatter. These words couldn't be seen from the projection, but they could clearly be seen on the electronic screens that were broadcasting the battle, as well as on the players' computers. Huang Xiaoshen represented everyone and directly stood out, challenging the other side to duels. "Do you dare? Are you coming? You afraid? Could it be that you want to fight me in a 2v1? No one on either side responded. Huang Xiaoshen was obviously ridiculing them. He was indicating that not accepting his challenge would be too shameful. The audience clearly wasn't as cool-headed as the pros were. They had already begun to get riled up. Team 1's supporters looked down on Team 2's cowardice. Team 2, on the other hand, were ridiculing Huang Xiaoshen's competitive attitude and how he wanted the team competition to turn into individual duels. At this moment, the players on stage still hadn't done anything and the audience members were already on the verge of breaking into a brawl. Team 2 stayed cool-headed the entire way through. On one hand, they were used to it. But on the other hand, Huang Xiaoshen was continuously taunting them. But he wasn't wrong though, their Team 2 didn't dare. Dueling also depended on the team composition. As a whole, Team 2 had support and crowd control classes. They were very complete. But in duels, they were against burst characters. If Zhang Jinji's cleric from Team 2 went up, that would just be giving Team 1 free points. How could they agree to duels? But there was no escape. Huang Xiaoshen saw through this point and knew that they wouldn't agree, so he continued to taunt at them. This was also a part of his style. Team 2 consisted of all-stars, so they wouldn't be so easily incited. As a result, they could only laugh bitterly. There were some from Team 2 that wanted to respond back to Huang Shaotian, but Han Wenqing was currently crouching at his reserve seat. Being taunted at like that wasn't good for their reputation. Team 2 advanced forward to pressure them, but Team 1 seemed to take delight in watching Huang Shaotian taunt them and retreated in response. If Team 2 had someone who liked to trash talk, then they would have spoken up long ago. But the problem was, in Team 2, not a single one of them liked to trash talk. And for Team 1, they had the king of trash talking, so they had the complete advantage in the chat window. Retreat, retreat, retreat. Team 1 only retreated, while Team 2 only advanced. Sometimes the person that was doing the trash talking didn't know if it was working. Team 2 thought that they were being very cool-headed in response to Huang Shaotian's trash talk, but to the outsiders, they thought that they had been provoked by Huang Shaotian. Team 2 continued to push forward and, just as they were about to fight, Team 1's 5 players suddenly scattered. Team 2 still hadn't figured what was going on, yet, when suddenly, Team 1's players disappeared from their sight. The 5 players were already used to looking out of the window to see the projection. None. 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 None here. None. The 5 players communicated and immediately became alarmed. Had the other side actually figured out where all of their dead angles were? Hurry and retreat, Zhang Jinji shouted. He had already realized that they were in one of their opponent's formations. They seemed to have intentionally lured them to this spot and created this situation. Zhang Jinji retreated along with everyone else, while carefully observing the terrain around them, looking at those spots that they weren't able to see. Everyone, stay in position, Zhang Jinji quickly reminded. He discovered that there were too many places here for the opponent to hide. At this moment, the first attack of the match struck. Pisho, Team 2 nimbly stepped to the side. A laser beam split their formation into 2. Ha ha ha, I can finally move, a word bubble popped out from above Huang Shaotian's troubling reign. Who knew where he had come from? He struck with a falling light blade from up above, directly into the 5 players' formation. Chapter 339, each side with their own shortcomings. If this type of surprise attack agitated their team, then Team 2 wouldn't deserve to be called all-stars. Huang Shaotian's falling light blade had been sudden, but Team 2 didn't react slowly. Tiny Herb Vice-Captain Deng Fusheng's Knight Angelica stepped out on his own and raised his shield to take the blow, shield counter. Shield counter's effects were determined by the skill that was used against it. When a direct attack was shield countered, the damage from the attack and its effects would be reflected back onto the attacker according to a certain percentage. It could be considered quite an abnormal defensive skill. Even though falling light blade fell from the sky, against the shield, it had no way of continuing down. The reflect from the shield would give rise to a knock-up effect. How could the experienced Huang Shaotian not know this? He immediately dispelled his skill and switched to a falling phoenix slash, sweeping past the lone defender. Huang Shaotian being able to use so many movements in such a short amount of time wasn't something an ordinary Glory fan could do. The crowd had already erupted into cheers. Deng Fusheng had no way of using shield counter to receive falling phoenix slash. If he changed directions and his position, allowing him to use another skill, he could try again. However, shield counter was on cooldown right now. How could he use it again? However, he wasn't the only player on Team 2. Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria, dressed in a black magic robe and a large wizard cap, hopped to the side. He waved his arms and a shadow cloak headed towards Troubling Rain. Dark Mantle was a grab skill and had high priority. At this moment, Wang Jiaxi choosing use it against Troubling Rain's falling phoenix slash meant that he had the utmost confidence he would be able to block it. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out. Zhou Zekai's Cloud Piercer had rushed out, firing rapidly towards them. Amidst the high-speed exchange, his gun aimed towards Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria. If Wang Jiaxi persisted in using Dark Mantle, then he would certainly be hit by Zhou Zekai's firing. Wang Jiaxi immediately decided to cancel his Dark Mantle and leapt backwards. Deng Fusheng's Angelica perfectly switched positions with him. Angelica's shield blocked Zhou Zekai's firing. Huang Shaotian's falling phoenix slash didn't receive any hindrances, but his target had already moved away, causing him to miss. Li Zan and Wu Yus didn't idle around either. They cast an ice boundary and flame boundary. Ice and fire overlapped, headed towards troubling rain. No matter how good Huang Shaoxin was, he had no way to run from this encirclement. Team Void relied mainly on ghost blades. Li Zan's Crying Devil was also considered the number one phantom demon. Wu Yuce's Carved Ghost was also a top-tier ghost blade. In setting up an ice and fire boundary, who could do it better than these two? Crying Devil's Silver Tachi, 4 heavenly dances, buffed ice, fire, and dark attribute skills. The boundary set up by his ghost blade would certainly be stronger than a normal one. Even for Huang Shaoxin's Troubling Rain, being surrounded by these two Ghostblade boundaries immediately made the situation difficult for him. If it had just been a flame boundary, then with Huang Shaoxin's exceptional mechanics, dodging those fire ghosts wouldn't have posed a problem. However, with an ice boundary on top of it, he didn't immediately get turned into ice, however his movement speed had slowed down. With this movement debuff, how could he dodge these fire ghosts? A mob of ghosts instantly leapt onto Troubling Rain's body, enveloping him in a purple fire. With Troubling Rain trapped, Team 2 prepared to surround him. Suddenly, a bang reverberated through the air and several ice walls erupted from the ground, putting up a wall protecting Troubling Rain. Chu Yongshu's Elementalist Windy Rain had come out. Retreat, Zhang Zhenji immediately shouted. But these experienced all-stars didn't need his reminder and had already scattered. Sure enough, Windy Rain waved her hands, forming a magic symbol. Bang! The ice walls shattered and ice shards shot wildly into the surroundings. But Team 2 had backed away in time. The damage from 1 or 2 ice shards hitting could be ignored. Amidst the rain of ice, Huang Shaoxin's Troubling Rain rushed forward with a triple slash. His speed was even faster than those ice shards, and in an instant, he had closed in on Crying Devil. Crying Devil might be a powerful phantom demon, but the Sword Saint Troubling Rain wasn't an ordinary blademaster. Troubling Rain moved like a shooting star and arrived in front of Sobbing Ghost in the blink of an eye. Troubling Rain clearly had movement speed increases on his equipment. He initiated with an upwards slash, and this time, no one could save Crying Devil as he was launched into the air. Li Zan immediately adjusted himself in order to break the knock-up, when a cannon shot fired from far away. Su Mucheng's Dancing Rain had sent over an artillery shell. Team 2's players were quite helpless against Su Mucheng's attacks. Their team composition consisted of a witch, a knight, 2 ghostblades, and a cleric. They didn't have anyone that could match a launcher's range. In terms of pure DPS, their Team 2 had no way of competing against Team 1. They required teamwork using different strategies to outlast the other team. There was nothing they could do about the long-ranged attacks, but their team wouldn't fall into disarray just because of that. Under Zhang Jinji's shot calling, Team 2's players didn't hurry to surround Su Mucheng and instead went to save Crying Devil. Li Zan's Crying Devil still hadn't come down yet after being launched up. Huang Shaoxin had completed the first step and Su Mucheng had completed the second step by firing an explosion to get him away from his allies. Next up was Zhou Zikai, who executed a brilliant delivery gun. Their plan was to send Crying Devil farther away in order to take him down first. It seemed like trying to save him wouldn't be easy. Chu Yongshu's Elementalist continued to fire AoE magic attacks, blocking their advances. Huang Shaoxin's Troubling Rain stuck close to them, charging in and out. His head also carried a bunch of word bubbles, adding to his annoyance. Apart from this, Su Mucheng's launcher chased after behind them with artillery shells. Team 2 could only grit their teeth and dodge. As an all-star and the number 1 god of Ghostblades, it wasn't as if Li Zan could do nothing about the delivery gun. However, the problem was delivery gun wasn't the only thing he had to worry about. Yu Wenzhou, Team 1's shot caller, hadn't joined in on the intense battle previously, but at this moment, he came out. His warlock Swaxar calmly cast all sorts of curses and magic. His movements weren't quick, but they were extremely accurate. In addition, his actions synergized very well with Zhou Zekai's firing. It was very difficult to believe that these two had never played together before. With these two top-tier players coordinating spectacularly together, Li Zan was unable to escape. The reason he was able to hang on though was because of his character's advantage. Ghostblades had relatively high innate dark resistance. The warlock's curses and magic were all dark attribute attacks. As a result, Crying Devil didn't take as much damage. This issue could be eliminated by increasing the tempo. However, everyone in Glory knew of Yu Wenzhou's famous handicapped hands. Besides increasing the tempo, you could have him do anything else. It was a pity his hands weren't able to keep up. This sort of weakness couldn't be resolved. However, this issue only dragged things out a bit longer, that was all. Ghostblades had never been solo characters, plus, it was a 1v2. Wasn't he already in an extremely unfavorable position? Li Zan urgently needed help, but help was coming late. Even though Team 2 were strong as a whole, they had one clear weakness: range. Su Mucheng couldn't be ignored, and since she was used to supporting behind Yi Shu, this formation was extremely favorable for her. Under Yu Wenzhou's lead, every player's strengths were completely brought out. For example, Huang Shaoshan charging in and causing a disturbance. Causing a disturbance would make the opponents feel annoyed, and who else was better at this than Huang Shaoshan? He could put out 2 attacks as well. Those strings of word bubbles were already making some of the audience members unable to bear it. Team 2 could do nothing about their slow advance. In the end, Li Zan's reinforcements didn't arrive on time, and under the suppression by those 2 players, his character died in battle. Team 1's supporters immediately cheered and felt like this team competition was completely worth the ticket price. As soon as Li Zan's Crying Devil died, Huang Shaoshan immediately ran away in order to avoid them switching their focus to him. Chu Yongshu and Su Mucheng had changed their attack patterns as well. To their surprise, Team 2 used this time to suddenly break out from their previous restrictions and immediately blocked off Yu Wenzhou's Swaksar. Escaping from an encirclement couldn't be done with just decision-making and knowledge. After all, some decisions could only be made with a high enough hand speed. This once again hit upon Yu Wenzhou's weakness. His current plight was extremely terrible as the 4 assaulted him fiercely. However, Team 1's rescue wasn't as restricted as Team 2's. Zhou Zekai's Cloud Piercer slide kicked into the encirclement to the audience's cries of alarm. They all thought he had thrown himself into a trap and killed himself. But then, Cloud Piercer jumped up, dodged an attack, took out 2 guns, crossed them in front of his head and repeatedly fired. Sharpshooter skill, random firing. Sidestepping, turning, stretching his arms, crossing his arms, Cloud Piercer continued to shift stances as if Zhou Zekai was controlling the random firing. Gunshots rang through the air and bullets flew out randomly. The 4 players on Team 2 had actually all been blown away out of their formation. Wu Yus controlled his Ghostblade to quickly jump back in order to get out of range, but who would have thought that after this jump, he would never touch the ground again. The stadium once again erupted into cheers. Zhou Zekai was even using delivery gun, while randomly firing. Chapter 340, The Gods Erupt. Random firing. This was the Boneyard Wild Boss Blood Gunner Yag's Berserk skill. As for players, this was a sharpshooter level 60 skill. But compared to the boss's random firing, who knew how many times better the Great Gunner Cloud Piercer's random firing was? The Blood Gunners was a true random firing, but Cloud Piercers had order within the randomness. Being able to accurately hit targets without missing was already incredible, but even more terrifying was that during the brief moment, he completed a delivery gun. This was a godly performance. Being Samsara's home stadium, there were naturally many Zhou Zekai fans. With such an astonishing display, the largest craze today erupted. Wild applause and cheers drowned out the broadcast. As for the broadcast, they were all delighted. The crowd's excitement was exactly what they wanted to see from the crowd. Zhou Zekai might not be very good at interviews, but on stage, his ability to stir up the crowd didn't lose to any player. Team 2's 4 players had been forced back. Wu Yus's carved phantom had been directly sent flying away. The other 3 didn't have an opportunity to rescue him, they were still being suppressed by the random firing. As soon as random firing stopped, Cloud Piercer continued his barrage. He sprinted forward, chasing after Carved Ghost. The forced back 3 players were finally released. Deng Fusheng's Angelica rushed forward with his shield raised, hoping to block Cloud Piercer's bullets. Suddenly, Zhou Zekai slide kicked, diving past Deng Fusheng's Angelica. Deng Fusheng immediately had Angelica jump to the side. The moment the two passed each other, Cloudpiercer suddenly stood up and struck out with a knee strike. The attack had been both fast and sudden, but Deng Fusheng wasn't slow. He raised his shield and backed away. He didn't try to block him off because he knew that gunners had the skill, Punisher, which would force him to be knocked down. Against this type of skill, even using shield counter wouldn't block its effects. The instant Deng Fusheng felt the strike hit his shield, he moved his shield to one side and stabbed forward with a holy punishment. His blade flashed with light and a cross appeared on the ground. However, Zhou Zekai's Cloudpiercer was already gone. Deng Fusheng was surprised, but then he saw a shadow flit across the ground. He hastily lifted up his head to look, but blood had already splashed into his line of sight. Zhou Zekai's Cloudpiercer had leapt over his head, and at the same time, the two guns in his hands continued to dance about. This time, the bullets poured down onto him like rain. Random firing. Random firing again. Except this time, the random firing had been done in the air, making it more difficult to use. But it seemed like this sort of problem didn't exist for Zhou Zekai. The even more difficult maneuver, hitting a single target using random fire, had been achieved beautifully. Of course, a level 60 skill like random firing wouldn't have a short cooldown. However, sharpshooters had a skill called dual load, which allowed them to repeat a skill that was on cooldown. Zhou Zekai had clearly used this and doubled random firing's cooldown. This was what allowed him to use random firing in quick succession. Random firing was supposed to be an AoE skill, but in Zhou Zekai's hands, it had been twisted into a single target skill. The entire attack focused onto Deng Fusheng's knight. Even though the knight was the class with the highest defense, it wasn't a small blow. Even worse, Zhou Zekai's attacks didn't stop there. He ignored the target he had been chasing, and after landing on the ground, he began circling around Angelica, running and firing. The atmosphere of the crowd grew even wilder. Zhou Zekai was actually suppressing Deng Fusheng. For such a situation to occur on two all-stars didn't mean that Deng Fusheng was weak, but rather, Zhou Zekai was too strong. So strong that it was beyond the norm. There were already die-hard Zhou Zekai fans waving around banners calling him the Glory's #1 expert. With Zhou Zekai's current performance, he really was living up to the name. Team 2's 4 players had practically been broken up by him alone. Wang Jiaxi, Deng Fusheng, Zhang Jinji, Wu Yus, these were all famous and resounding figures, yet in front of him, they appeared as if they were just random players. Team 2 hurriedly tried to turn the situation around. Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria flew after Cloudpiercer, but was suddenly blocked by Huang Shaoshan. The two fought a dazzling battle, and for now, it was difficult to say who was on top. As for Wu Yus's carved ghost, which had been sent flying away by Zhou Zekai, was now being taken care of by the sole 2 female all-stars. These two had a good sense for tactics and were also good friends. In private, the two often played together, and as a result, their current coordination showed this. Wu Yus's carved ghost was a rare kind in the pro scene, a phantom demon and sword demon hybrid. However, despite his all-roundedness, he was unable to keep up with the 2v1 and was slowly being pushed back. Zhang Jinji's cleric was a support class without many DPS skills. He wanted to go and save them, but he was suddenly blocked by Yu Wenzhou's Swaksar. The two began battling unhurried. Zhang Jinji observed the situation. Team 1's intents really had been what Huang Shaoshan had been chattering about. They wanted to split them apart and fight 1v1s. After their formation was broken apart, the two formed this type of situation. Team 1 consisted of completely offensive characters. In a 1v1, Team 2 would certainly suffer. In addition, Li Zan's Crying Devil had already died. After quickly scanning around him, he saw that Wang Jiaxi and Huang Shaoshan were in a deadlock. Deng Fusheng was being suppressed by Zhou Zekai quite miserably. As for Wu Yus, calling it miserably would be an understatement. In a 1v2 situation, he was simply taking a beating. It had to be known that Chu Youngshu's biggest weakness was that she often collapsed under pressure, but since this was the all-star competition and just for show, she had absolutely no pressure on her. Her performance right now wouldn't lose to top-tier gods like Wang Jiaxi or Huang Shaoxian. With her as the main attacker and Su Mucheng, who was an expert at coordinating with others, Wu Yus had practically no way of fighting back. Speaking of top-tier gods, Team 2 had one more. Han Wenqing and his Desert Dust had originally been on the reserve player seat. After Li Zan's Crying Devil died, his character would automatically take his place. There were many areas on the map his character could appear at. Even if they were in the middle of a battle, as long as they were in such an area, they could switch positions. However, the switched-out character would be in a cooled-down state. Even with health or mana recovery equipment, the character would not be able to recover until he was switched back in onto the field. Han Wenqing and Desert Dust had already been switched in, but he still hadn't arrived yet. Zhang Jinji glanced at the map and discovered that the two sides were fighting in an area a distance away from any exchange area. No matter where Han Wenqing chose, it would require some time for him to arrive. Wang Jiaxi and he weren't in any danger. Deng Fusheng was being suppressed, but he could hang on. However, Wu Yus couldn't wait. Against an attack on all sides like this, it wouldn't even take 30 seconds for him to die, let alone that in a 2v1. He originally thought that he'd be able to rush over and heal him, but as it turned out, that plan wasn't going to work. Zhang Jinji was growing very worried. What type of opponent was he up against? Yu Wenzhou wasn't trying to do damage to Zhang Jinji's immovable rock, his goal was simply to stop him from aiding his ally. This was something completely within Yu Wenzhou's capabilities. If this situation continued, Team 2 would be in a deep trouble. Zhang Jinji saw that dragging it on wasn't an option. The other three also realized this, but the only person who could do something was Wang Jiaxi. Neither Wang Jiaxi nor Huang Shaoxian could find an advantage. Once Wang Jiaxi saw that his team was in a very bad predicament, continuing to fight with his chatterbox was a complete waste of time. He turned his broom around and Valkyria flew off. He didn't try and save Wu Yus's carved ghost and instead went to the aid of Zhang Jinji. This decision made Zhang Jinji very pleased. Wang Jinji flew over and threw down a lava flask, surrounding Yu Wenzhou's Swaksar in sea of flames. Valkyria chased after him and began attacking randomly. This sort of tactic could be considered Yu Wenzhou's greatest bane. He could see what Wang Jiaxi was trying to do and he knew what he was going to do, but no matter how well he understood it, he wasn't able to respond. In this type of situation, Yu Wenzhou could only let out a bitter laugh as he ran for his life. Huang Shaoxian naturally understood that his team's captain would suffer greatly against Wang Jiaxi, so he hurried over to save him. But then, Wang Jiaxi completely abandoned him as his Valkyria flew around the skies like an arrow, not only messing with Blue Rain's two players, but also randomly throwing magic and items at Zhou Zikai, Chu Youngshu, and Su Mucheng. In terms of damage and threat, it did very little. But similar to Zhou Zekai's initial random firing, Wang Jiaxi's sudden eruption instantly threw Team 1 into disorder. Deng Fusheng took advantage of this moment to group up with Zhang Jinji. Knight and Cleric, one defense one support, would have trouble killing someone, but would also be very difficult to kill. A very disgusting combo. The almost dead Wu Yus suddenly received support. His spirit immediately rose and tried to find a chance to regroup with Zhang Jinji's Cleric. However, to his surprise, Chu Youngshu suddenly displayed an unprecedented toughness. After Wang Jiaxi resolved the other teammates' situations, he focused his attention on messing with the two female players. But Chu Youngshu didn't back away. Instead, she shot forward with her defenseless elementalist and actually planned on taking the incoming damage in order to blast apart Wu Yus's carved ghost once and for all.